Every time I search for it, it's coming up. It's not coming up with a link to the actual word.
Oh, you're on the interline, right?
Yeah. That's the first one I've tried.
That's not very sure.
Right.
So
this is the root, right? So the full definition, right? It says usually underground. I'm just going to read through it right, to get to the point. Alright, so rooted, yeah? It says something that is an origin or source. As an example, the love of money is the root of all evil.
Which they're going off on that.
It says one or more progenitors of a group of descendants, an underlying support, the essential core, close relationship with an environment. This is not in the etymology, right? I couldn't find it.
Yeah, so where you at, brother?
This is the Merriam-Webster.
No, I mean you should have went on yeah, the Buddha, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Yeah, most likely, brother, when I say look up a word, you gotta go in that Buddha. If you got the Buddha, I mean, I'm pretty sure you do got the Buddha.
Yeah. Right, so in the blue letters, it's G4492, and it says Rizu, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, or Rizuo,
Or Rizuo.
Rizuo.
Yeah, some shit.
It says the outline biblical usage is to cause, to strike root, to strengthen with roots, to render firm, to fix, establish, cause a person or a thing to be thoroughly grounded.
Yeah, so you have to be firm. You have to be established. Okay, it's like when you plant anything and you try to pull the root out, it's going to be very difficult to pull exactly what's being grown, that's being grown from the ground, the root. So that's how you have to be in this faith. You have to be grounded to the point where you're not wavering, you're not questioning, you're not overly questioning things. Okay, and especially if you put a certain amount of years in, you're already supposed to be on that level where you're unmovable in the faith. No matter what comes across you, no matter what philosophy comes across you, you're not going to take heed to that because you're fully firm and confirmed in the belief of what this truth represents. While you have other guys in camps out there, they're not unmovable. They're wavering because they're not rooted in and they don't have a foundation, which the foundation is Yahawashi. And mainly their foundation is really of their flesh, of what's going on according to their mind. So they rely on what's going on according to their mind rather than Yahawashi. Okay, going back to the Proverbs, what is it, 3 and 5? Not leaning onto your own understanding. So the more that we do so of that, the more we'll be more firm and grounded in the belief of this, the believing of this, and trusting in this right here. Go on.
Verse 8 says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Hamashiach.
Yeah, look up that word rudiments, brother. I'm not too keen with what that word means. And that's what you gotta do. If you're not too keen what a word means, you gotta also look it up. There's no need to be winging stuff. That's why we have these tools to use it. And see, we don't do this thing that we're doing of pride. We do it because we're sincere. We're doing it by being genuine, by the sincerity of our heart, as we're supposed to.
Right, so it's G4746, and it's stoikaon.
Yes, sir. Oh, you mean the Greek? I'm not too good with the Greek.
But,
we're not Greeks anyway. We're Hebrews, so it doesn't really matter anyway.
So it says that the usage, any first thing from which the others belonging to some series or composite take hold their rise, an element and first principle. The elements from which all things have come, the material causes of the universe, the heavenly bodies, either as parts of the heavens or as others think, because in them the elements of man, life and destiny was supposed to reside.
Yeah, that's pretty much that. That's really the read that definition again.
So the elements from which all things have come, the material causes of the universe, the heavenly bodies, either as parts of the heavens or as others think, because in them the elements of man.
Right, because of what others think, because of the elements of man. Okay, you got certain. So when it says that the rudiments of this world, meaning the elements of this world, we haven't been taken by them. So because we haven't been taken by that, going back to what the priest was saying, because we're grounded and we're rooted up in it. We're rooted up in his belief system. You know, it's gotten to the point where we come out here and we don't really care about what people say or what people think about us.
Just in the etymologies, so it says it's from the Latin rudimentum, early training, first experience, beginning, first principle. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, can't. Because I mean, we all came from the world. We were all brought up in this world. We were all raised up in the world, but we came out of that, came from amongst that, and now we're coming into a different world altogether, which is the world of the righteous, the saints, which we are those saints. And that's the world that we're in right now. Go on, brother. Because it's either you deny the world or you deny the faith. It's just, you can't be a part of, you can't have one foot in the world and then have one foot in the truth. You have to deny one thing and focus on another thing, the one thing, okay? Yeah.
Colossians 1 and 23 says, if you continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel.
Right, if you continue in the faith, grounded and settled, that you be not removed from the gospel. Like I said before, we've already reached that point, and Lord willing, even unto the end. So let's read on.
Which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I, Paul, am made a minister.
Exactly. So what are the creatures talking about? Is it actually talking about every creature? No. It's talking about the men, because we're creatures too. The men that were given this knowledge. Okay, so whoever heard the preachings of the knowledge that was coming from Paul at the time, those were the creatures. And we are also those creatures that have taken heed and gathered this information, and now we're bringing it to the forefront. Okay, go on, brother.
That's it.
Yeah, read up a verse. Go up a couple of verses. That's my shooting throat.
Yeah, verse 23 says, if you continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel which ye have heard,
Because who do we hear this gospel from? We heard it from, again, our heads, the apostles. Even I myself, I can speak for myself. I got this truth from the apostles. I did listen to other camps, but the teachings came from the apostles. That's when I really started to gain understanding of what I was involved in, and his gospel as a whole. Go on.
It says, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature, which is under heaven.
Which were those creatures under heaven? Go on.
Whereof, Salakia, I Paul am made a minister.
Right, and I, Paul, I made a minister. We're also made ministers as well, which the word minister means a servant. So we're servants of the Lord. So if you're a servant of the Lord, you're going to teach the tidings thereof and the things that concerns the book. Not going into your own little doctrines and philosophies and stuff like that, man. Okay, teaching that Esau can make it, teaching that the mark of the beast ain't the ark, ain't the chip. That's a damnable heresy, and that's the mark of the beast prophecy is the most important prophecy of them all. Because if you're teaching that wrong, man, then you really gonna enter into the world of her when you do that. Okay, go on. You got another precept.
Yeah. Hebrews 5 and 12 says, For when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again.
Exactly. So you have to be taught. You're not going to get this thing in the means of the Lord that's just going to be dealing with you. No, other men are going to teach you this information, and you're going to teach other men, and that's how it goes. Now, am I to say that the Lord can't do that? No, I'm not saying that the Lord cannot do that, because the Lord can pretty much awaken a man and bring him to the truth. But the Lord don't deal like that. He'll use other men to teach other men the truth.
Some of the men that are teaching it are still being taught themselves.
Exactly. And we're still learning in this thing as well.
Myself are one of them men.
Exactly. You know, just because we say we got the truth, you know, we don't just stop there. No, we keep learning other things, and we you know, we find other things to back up the prophecies. Okay, to further sound what's being said here, which was already being said here is already sound doctrine anyway. But we're still learning, we're still growing in the grace.
Well, that's what them other camps they don't want to they don't really want to. They fully say they've learned everything already. Man.
Yeah.
So they don't want to take any reproval.
Yeah, they don't want to be corrected.
They don't want to be corrected. That's right.
Because they feel they already got everything in going, but they don't have everything in going. Because if they did have everything in going, then they would be teaching the same thing that we're teaching, and they wouldn't have the need or feel the need to pervert the gospel if they had it all going on. So evidently they don't have it all going on.
So yeah, it says ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High.
Right. You gotta be taught these precepts, because before I came into this truth, I didn't know jack about the Bible. I've read the Bible several times, a few times in my life, and I didn't even understand what I was reading. So I had to be taught again. Okay, I'm not gonna come out here and act as though I already had this information, like the Lord is just dealing with me and I'm above everybody else. That's not the truth. You know, we all came under men that were well versed in this Bible here.
No, I was trying.
And I can clearly say that it wasn't no white guys, no old white geezers that was teaching this Bible. It was so-called black men from the tribes that you see here. Okay, that's who we got this truth from. Go on, bro.
I was trying to show my younger brother some of the things out of the scriptures, right? And I was going into some things that obviously to him was a bit deep. It was a bit of the meat, and he was like, you know, he says, how do you know this? How do you understand this? And I said, because look, first off, it's the Spirit. And secondly, the teachers.
Yeah.
We have to be taught these things.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's basically what we're going into. And these other camps out here don't want to accept the fact that they have teachers.
Yep. And it makes it worse on them, because see, when you go out there and you're on your own, you actually put more pressure on yourself. Because I can assure you, them guys, man, a lot of these camps, if they was to read certain verses, like for example, read the book of Revelations, a lot of them don't even know the book of Revelations. A lot of them don't say, just like the pastors would say, they won't say it out loud, but you know, in mind, because they don't really normally go into it, okay, is that it's sealed. So they don't really touch Revelations. And the reason why they say it's sealed, because it's a very complicated parabolic book or chapter or right. The book of Revelation is a very parabolic book. So they don't really go into it that much. But because we will learn other men that were well skilled, highly skilled of this Bible, now we know how to break these things down to. You know, we can touch the book of Revelation with ease because we were taught by the right teachers. Go on, dude.
First Timothy 5:17 says, "Let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor."
And that's why we say we give double honor to the apostles, to our elder apostles, because we're all apostles, but they're the head apostles, as I call them. You know, go on.
It says, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine.
Right, and especially them that labor in the word and in doctrine. Because we're not niggas in the world. We're men of renown. We're the prophets of the Lord. So if you learn from these men, you're supposed to reverence these men with respect. Okay? Not necessarily bow down to them, but reference them and be aware that these are the men of the Lord that taught you. Okay? Go on, bro. And a lot of them guys, we're over them guys, man. There's a lot of brothers in Great Nelson that are over them dudes. There's a lot of those guys, those Salaki, them Adam Abbott guys, man, they just came in like the other day. They ain't been in it too long. Go on, bro.
1 Timothy 6:3 says, "If any man teach otherwise and consent not to wholesome words."
Oh shit! So it says, if any man teach not otherwise and consent not unto wholesome words. Go on.
Even the words of our Lord Hamashiach Yahawashi, Yahawashi Mashiach, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness.
Read that again, brother. Read that one more time. I gotta do that again.
1 Timothy 6:3. If any man teach otherwise,
if any man teach otherwise,
and consent not to wholesome words,
and consent. So you have the consent. Let's look up that word consent real quick, brother. I mean, we know what the word means, but we want to go more in depth, which is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to edify and deal with this doctrine that we do. We go more in depth. We have to go more in depth. Sometimes you got to go one deeper.
Is it wholesome? Consent.
Yeah, consent.
Proserpine, if I'm getting that correct, and it's in the Strong's G4334. Right, so it says to approach, come near, visit, worship, ascend to, come thereunto, draw near.
So you're supposed to draw near and stay near and worship. So we have to be consented unto what we were taught. No, there's no other way around it. So if you're teaching something that the heads did not teach, then like I said, you're not consenting unto the wholesome words. Because all we bring out is what's within the wholesome words, which is this Bible here. All right, and you even have other Edomites out there that have, well, I'll say Edomite. You had an Edomite that was involved in the technology of the RFID chip, and he even came to the conclusion that he was actually fulfilling prophecy, and then later became a devout Christian.
And even the Christians can get that.
Yeah.
Even the Christians get that.
It's spoken out as the Christians are. They know that that's the mark of the beast.
There's even atheists that there's even people that don't necessarily believe that would say the same thing. But anyway, 1 Timothy again, 6:4 says, "He is proud, knowing nothing but doting about questions and strifes of words."
That's Adam Apple.
"Whereof cometh envy and strife, railings, evil surmisings."
Yep. trying to question the apostles on the 144,000. Are they all going to be in great snowstorm? Like we should all know that. I mean, like I want to say again, man, the 144,000, they may not all be in unison in great snowstorm, but believe you me, because we teach the whole truth and nothing but the truth, eventually they're gonna come flocking onto great snowstorm. Is where they belong. Go on, bro.
It says, verse 5, perverse disputings of men.
Perverse disputings of men, going
of corrupt minds and destitute of the truth.
And corrupt minds and destitute of the truth. So when you're not teaching the things that the apostles are teaching, you're destitute of the truth, man. Okay, you're dry. Well, and at the same time, as well as I'm going to also say, you're without fruit. Okay? Eventually you're without fruit, because if you're bringing forth corrupt fruit, you can't eat that. If I see a rotten apple on the tree, I'm not going to eat that apple. So in other words, eventually you wind up without fruit. So what do you have? You have nothing. Go on,
talking about the fruit as well. If you look at some of the members in that camp,
yeah,
some of them brothers have got dreadlocks, man.
Yeah, not to mention, exactly.
The scriptures tell you about that. Man.
Yep, you got guys in the camps, man, that are lining up their beds and they got dreadlocks as well. So that's showing you also as well that them guys are out of order too. Because when you come into this truth, man, you're supposed to cut that shit off your head. We don't allow no dreadlocks in this thing of ours, man.
It says, the scripture said you're meant to wear fools for Yahawashi, man.
Exactly.
That's why we wear these garments down to the feet, and they don't even wear garments down to the feet.
Yeah, they wearing t-shirts
with fringes on, because they're trying to stay half and half.
Yeah. And you know what that is, half and half, meaning they got one, they a part of them's in the world and a part of them's in the truth.
Oh.
There's no scripture saying you gotta put a t-shirt and put the robes on, man. I mean, Salaki, the scriptures don't say put on a t-shirt and get a border of blue. It doesn't say that. It says something to the effect of wearing a robe, the four corners of your garment. Okay, a garment is not a t-shirt, man. Go on.
It says, through verse 5 again, 1 Timothy 6 and 5 says, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds and destitute of the truth,
right,
supposing that gain is godliness.
Yeah, because you have other Israelite groups, they're in it for the money, or they're in it to gain some kind of popularity, and like I said, ratings, and it's not about that. That's not what this truth is all about. The reason why, and I like how the Apostle Bar did a beautiful lesson. And I had to post a comment because I don't normally comment on videos like I used to back in the day. I just watch and just listen and I get edified from there. But I had to post a comment on the video that the Apostle Bar did. And he was going into on how the reason why we're in the truth is so that we can be reconciled back to the Heavenly Father. That's the true reason why we're in the truth. Because the Most High pretty much did away with his people. He did away with us and pretty much tossed his way to the other side. So now we're in the truth because of Yahawashi, and through Yahawashi, now we're going to receive grace. Now we're under the good grace of the Most High, and that was powerful to me. And that's why we're in the truth. We're not in this truth to gain some ratings or gain some popularity, and to also gather, get some money of this thing. We're here to repent back to the Heavenly Father. That's the true reason of why we're here. Why we're in this truth. Not to puff up yourself, man, and gather and get some vain glory. We're not doing this for no vain glory. We're doing this because we need to repent and we need to get out of here, man.
It says from such.
Well, we needed to repent because we repented already. Go on.
It says from such withdraw thyself. That's it.
Yeah, with such withdraw thyself. Exactly. Yeah, give me, what else should you give me, man? You can also get me, right, get the scripture where it speaks about, I don't know where it's at, but the scripture speaks about, something to the effect of sound doctrine. Let me see something real quick. And you can also get the scripture where it says, continue in the things which thou hast learned. You can get that as well. is not as simple as coming out here and cursing people out and calling the so-called white man a devil and all of that stuff. It ain't just like that. This truth also, you have to examine yourself as well, whether you're walking the right walk. Because you could be condemning somebody, but you need to be condemned.
Just read that.
Go on.
Second Timothy.
And that's not to take away that he's not the devil, because he is the devil. But like I said, it's more, we have to more focus on ourselves and examine what kind of spirit we have in us. And we can get that as well. Examine yourselves to be in the faith. That could be the next precept we can do. We're going.
This is Titus 1:9. It says, holding fast the faithful words as he hath been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayers.
That's the thing read that again.
Set of Titus 1:9. Holding fast the faithful word as he hath been taught.
Right, holding fast the faithful word which you have been taught. Which, you know, I'm comfortably aware that camp out of Abbott, okay, whatever they name themselves, they may not name themselves that, but I'm just going based on the quotation name. I'm pretty sure that they've learned from the apostles, they've learned from certain brothers in Great Millstone, and now what they're doing is they're little and little trying to escape what they've been taught, and that's not what the scriptures are saying. You can't call yourself a man of the Lord if you're not corresponding with the word of the Lord. Let's read what it's saying again.
It says, holding fast the faithful word as he hath been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine.
But by sound doctrine. Sound doctrine is just that the mark of the beast is the NFC chip, the variant chip or the microchip, whatever you want to call it. Go on.
Both to exhort and to convince the gainsayers.
Right, both to exhort and to convince the gainsayers. So we're here to use this truth to convince the gainsayers, those that don't believe, those that come up against us. Not you being a gainsayer while you have the truth. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Verse 10 says, for there are many unruly and vain talkers.
Oh shit, there's many unruly and vain talkers.
And deceivers.
And deceivers, go on.
Especially they of the circumcision.
Especially they of the circumcision. Especially they that know the truth. They know that they're Israelites and they know other things. Alright? And eventually if they don't get their act together, the Most High is going to do away with them and shut them down. And what I mean shut them down is the Lord is going to kill them. Okay? That's what's going to happen. Because when you're dealing with this Bible, man, when you're dealing with the word of the Heavenly Father, you better take this seriously. Okay, this is a serious book, man. That's why as we just read in 1 Corinthians 11 and 28, it speaks about if you drink of this cup and eat of this bread unworthily, in other words, you're going to receive damnation unto yourself. So you got to be very careful when you're holding this book. Go on, brother.
Verse 11, it says, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not.
Yeah, they need to shut the fuck up, man, and teach the truth. If they don't want to do that, then don't teach. Just simply close up shop, go back to being a bunch of niggas like you were before. You know, play your little video games or go to the club and then do all of that bullshit you was doing back in the world. And that's all you gotta do. Alright? Go on, brother. And leave it to the real men of the Lord.
It says, teaching things which they ought not for filthy lucre's sake. One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said, the Cretians are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies. This witness is true. Wherefore rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in the faith.
Exactly, and that's a part of this truth, is rebuking. Not get, you can't, why you always get on these different camps? We're supposed to come together. We're not coming together because we don't see eye to eye. And we're not going to come together by a camp that's teaching poison. We're teaching you, something that's going to build you up, something that's going to elevate you to another estate, a greater estate. We're not going to be teaching you no poison.